Good Monday morning. Gracie and I are just sitting here having our quiet time, getting morning cuddles while the sun is just starting to come up. And I realized I had not talked to you at the beginning of this year of what it's like just to recalibrate our hearts at the beginning of a new year and just kind of listen to what the Lord is saying, because often He will have kind of a message for our hearts that can kind of govern our year. And okay, lay right there, boo. Or not, or lay here, or pom pom. And what I love to do is enter the first of the year and just really set some time aside to engage with the Lord on a deeper way. It may be a fast. The Lord's asked me to fast many things. I've done this for, probably 20 years, a first of the year fast of some kind. And I remember one year He asked me to fast clothes. And do you know that year, I had never in my life had people give me clothes. People gave me clothes that year. I even had 2 people buy my Easter outfit. Like, that was when you always needed a new dress for Easter. It was the sweetest thing ever, the way the Lord loved me that year. But usually it's food. But I also, one year, my friend Ken Edwards, he talked about having a word for the year. And I'm like, a word for the year? That sounds like a lot of work. I don't know that I want all that. But what was interesting is God started highlighting this word to me at the end of the year as we were entering the new year. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to pay attention to this, because that's kind of how it happens. You will be reading a passage of scripture and a word just jumps out to you and you can't get away from it, and it feels like your heart needs that. I had that happen with Isaiah 54, 1 through 2. The Lord gave me that 2 years in a row. And though it's a really painful verse for me, it's a really hopeful verse for me. It's, sing, O barren, you who have not borne, for more are the children of the desolate woman than she who has had many children. And it was such a word of hope, though I really have asked Him to please never give me that again. But you can be reading a passage of scripture and it just comes alive to you. Or you can be listening to a sermon and a word pops out that you can't get away from. Pay attention to that, and then you'll watch the Lord confirm it. And it may start popping up in your scripture reading. It may come up in a conversation with a friend. This year, I had a friend give me an ornament with the word on it. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But He can do it in such different ways. 1 year, 2 years ago, my last 2 years, this year in 2022 and 2021, my word was new wine. And He gave me a passage of scripture. Behold, I'm doing a new thing. Can you not now see it? And what was interesting was it was a year of all new things. I was building my first house ever and designing it all by myself. With my friend Packer, of course, but meaning not with an interior designer. I was seeing the new giftings that God had placed in me. We were moving to a new place. I was having to make new friends. I was leaving the old, and God was letting me know, I'm in this. I'm in this. There's new wine in this. I'm doing a new thing. And then this year, God spoke a phrase to me and then gave me a passage of scripture, because that's how He does it. I was actually in the shower. I don't know about you. I'm going to do a musing on why God speaks with water, near water, around water, but it's like you can hear His voice in water so much. And He told me, I was in the shower, and I'm here back in Tennessee for us to close things out here and finalize getting our house sold. And I felt like He said, I'm going to speak to you in your joy. And I'm like, but Lord, this is a season of mourning. I'm leaving my people. And He's like, no, I'm going to speak to you in your joy. So I want you to take it all in. So I have been so greedy. I have seen more friends I have eaten out more because, like, where we've gone to Georgia, the only place that delivers is Marco's Pizza. Like, I'm talking, it is a culinary desert. And I have one friend there that I made. And so I have really been mourning here. But then the Lord gave me this passage of scripture immediately, which I taught on years ago. It's such a powerful scripture from Psalms 126. And it said, "Those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. He who goes out weeping, bearing the seed for sowing," meaning isn't lost in his grief, but is still sowing the seed I've called him to sow, "shall come home with shouts of joy, bringing his sheaves with him," meaning it will be a fruitful land and you will still have great joy, even in your mourning. So I'm trusting that. And then I'm walking this little whippersnapper up the street for our nightly walk. And I've seen this so many times, but that night I'm like processing and I'm just thinking about this word, "I'll speak to you in your joy." And I look up, and no lie, like, this is how God can get the word of the year to you. I look up and it's in their yard, 3 ginormous letters as big as their front porch, J-O-I, joy. There's not another sign in the whole entire neighborhood, but that was there. So God knows how to get his word to you. Now listen, this is not a word from a horoscope. This is not a word from any kind of universe. This is a word from God. But I will tell you, and I'm going to do a Monday musing on this as well, the fact that we long to read those shows us how hungry our heart is for a word from God. And friends, I want you to know we have a speaking God, and his word can govern your year and your life. And setting aside some time at the beginning of the year, you'll be amazed at what it'll do for your heart and what it will do for your year. So I hope that encourages you. From me and Gracie on this Monday morning.